Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on Our News, an injunction is extended for Abaco shantytowns. More on U.S. plans to donate vaccines to the Bahamas. Plus, a man on bail for murder is gunned down. Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, a government will have to provide evidence to court if it wants to demolish shantytowns on Abaco. This comes as a Supreme Court judge extends an injunction preventing government from destroying shantytown dwellings to all Abaco shantytowns. Jared Higgs has the details.
A court injunction protecting shantytown residents from having their homes demolished is being extended to cover all shantytowns on Abaco. Attorneys for those shantytown residents asked for the injunction to cover the entire Bahamas, but that request was denied by Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson. The decision means government will have to pause or change its shantytown demolition exercise in the farm shantytown on Abaco. Lawyers for the government had asked Grant Thompson to vary the injunction to remove Abaco, arguing that Hurricane Dorian destroyed the homes in the shantytowns and they no longer require protection. But Grant Thompson denied that request, reasoning that even if one home remains, it ought to be protected by the injunction. Grant Thompson told the court that the injunction should only be in place for 3 months as the substantive shantytown judicial review nears a close. She noted that the court is mindful of the human element involved in the matter and that the people involved have universal rights. She added that it is important for the Bahamas to display mutual respect for the lives of everybody in the country, regardless of who they are or where they originated from. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, the Health and Foreign Affairs ministers reacting to news that the Bahamas will receive 2 tranches of COVID-19 vaccines from the United States. Jasmine Brown reports.
The Foreign Affairs Minister weighed in on the matter after Bahamas Ambassador to the United States, Sidney Colley, confirmed that the U.S. would be donating vaccines to the Bahamas. According to Ambassador Colley, the first tranche is expected to arrive by the end of the month. Colley told the Nassau Guardian over the weekend that he could not say how many doses are being donated or which vaccine it is. Despite the fact that there are still many unknowns, Hanfield said in Parliament that the Bahamas is grateful.
At this time, I extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to our regional, hemispheric, and international counterparts for their donations. We are optimistic that the Bahamas will be a part of the United States' promise to make vaccines available to the region, and even more specifically to this country.
The Bahamas has received 87,200 doses of the vaccine. In April, the White House announced that the U.S. will share 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is awaiting approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration with other countries. 1 month later, it announced that the U.S. will also share an additional 20 million doses, which will include Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna.
We appreciate any vaccines we can get.
Hanfield thanked the U.S. lawmakers who pushed for the Bahamas to receive vaccines from the United States.
We thank Governor Scott, formerly Governor, now Senator Rick Scott. We thank Senator Marco Rubio, and we thank also the Black Caucus in the United States for their insistence that the Bahamas be considered right out of the gate. What those 2 members recognize is that the economy of South Florida and the economy of the Bahamas are inextricably linked.
Now, Hanfield says he hopes the Bahamas will continue to have close partnerships with other countries as it continues its fight against COVID-19. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And mixed reactions from residents and members of Parliament to the Prime Minister's extension of a 14-day lockdown on Cat Island and Andros. 2 business owners we spoke to say the measures are hurting their bottom line. Berthany McDermott has that.
2 weeks after a 14-day lockdown was imposed on Cat Island and Andros, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis extended the restrictive measures by 7 days. In a statement Sunday afternoon, the Office of the Prime Minister announced that the lockdown for those islands will now end at 5 a.m. on Monday, June 14th. Greenwood Beach Resort manager Antoine Barbier said while they understand the need for the lockdown, he's not sure how long businesses on Cat Island can carry on like this.
We understand fully safety first, but it starts to be a bit depressing. So when everything will be over, we will hopefully have more and more bookings. So we really wish the government will help us to like increase the number of flights here, and yeah, be here to support us, because so far we can hold it, but in few months I don't know.
Over in Central Andros, Samuel Rami owns a bar and grill. He says he doesn't see the need for the extended lockdown.
It affecting all of the small business. And me, as a business person that been in business since 1989, that's bread and butter. And actually, right now, everything is like to a halt.
Cat Island MP Philip Davis also called the move unnecessary.
The science could not be clearer. In order to stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus or any other airborne infectious virus for that matter, you have to separate the people with the virus from the people who do not have the virus. In order to do that, you have to test widely.
But North Andros and the Berry Islands MP Carlton Boleg doesn't share the same view. He says while the extension may have its adverse effects, it's still necessary, and he's throwing his support behind the move.
It is not something that is unexpected. We have a rise with cases. Over the past week, we've had about 12 or 14 cases, and we're trying to really lower that.
The harvesting of crabs is permitted between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m., and farmers can water, tend to, and harvest their crops between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Since the lockdown began, 26 cases were recorded on Andros and 21 were reported on Cat Island. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Centerville MP Reese Chipman going head-to-head with several government members of parliament this afternoon after he implied that the budget was created by a guitar player in control of the government. South Beach MP Jeff Lloyd, Southern Shores MP Frankie Campbell, and Bambootown MP Brenward Wells among those taking issue with his statement.
Somehow, some external force has created this budget, and he's brought no evidence to this House to substantiate that. He cannot be making that kind of assertions inside this place, Mr. Speaker. The rules does not allow him to do that. So if he's going to make that kind of assertion, he needs to bring the evidence for such.
That's why for the crutches, you say bring evidence.
Chipman, who severed ties with the Free National Movement to become an independent MP, said the Minnis administration's fifth budget does not outline provisions that will make the country better.
We are on crutches. That's the narrative, Mr. Speaker, that should be coming out of this budget. That our economy, our social well-being, our people, our lives are on crutches.
Well, the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths recorded in May exceeded figures for the month of April. Infectious Diseases Director Dr. Nakia Forbes warns that in the face of emerging variants, Bahamians must think about how to reduce risks during the typically busy travel period. Kyle Joaquin reports.
But when patients are seriously ill, in many cases, there's not much we can do to get them better. That's very concerning.
An increasing number of cases and COVID-related deaths as the country remains in the grips of a third wave. As of last weekend, 232 people in country have died as a result of the virus. In the month of May alone, there were 31 COVID-related deaths and a total of 1,345 confirmed cases, noticeably higher than the 1,200 cases recorded in April.
We are not at our full capacity for hospital beds, but we still have a number of hospital admissions, about 50 in the last few weeks.
Between May 16th and May 22nd, the Ministry of Health confirmed 367 cases. From May 30th to June 5th, 208 cases were confirmed, a slight decrease, but still high. Infectious Diseases Program Director Dr. Nakia Forbes says healthcare professionals are doing all they can with the limited manpower and resources they have.
And I have to say that the healthcare workers have been battling COVID-19 for more than a year now. And patients can be very sick, and there is risk of burnout. And it's very challenging as it relates to the small cadre of healthcare workers that we have in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in the face of an ongoing COVID-19 outbreak that the curve is not being flattened.
Aside from vaccinations, Forbes said there's a level of personal responsibility that people must take. She warned if people continue to ignore restrictions, numbers will continue to be high.
All we have is prevention And vaccinations are a part of prevention. So until we get that right, we're going to be battling COVID-19, especially if business and continues as usual. And I mean the broad sense of the word business. If we're gathering, not following precautions, we're going to continue to have cases. That's the reality of the situation.
Now, as we transition into the summer months, a traditionally busy travel period, Forbes warns that international travel is still a risk.
Especially in the face of emerging variants, some of which can break through the vaccine. And so again, it is a time when we like to travel. We need to balance travel. We're going to go, you have to think about how to reduce the risk. The public health measures can work.
Now again, Forbes says if the country doesn't do better with getting more people to adhere to restrictions and get vaccinated, we will continue to see high levels of COVID-19 in the country. For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Still to come, a young man on bail for murder shot and killed over the weekend. Plus, Foreign Affairs helps over 500 people stuck abroad. Stay with us.
Rev and Alive are moving some things around to save you time. We are officially moving all equipment testing for Rev customers away from the mall at Marathon and to the Kenneth Plaza on Prince Charles and to the Southwest Plaza. You can still pay your Rev bill at any Alive location and enjoy customer support at our Prince Charles, Harbor Bay, Southwest, and Cable Beach locations. For more information on Rev service locations, please visit rev.bs/contact.
A 22-year-old man on bail for murder was gunned down on Milton Street on Friday night. Jared Higgs spoke with his heartbroken sister and aunt, who describe him as an amazing father.
He told me, say, I will never make you cry again, and that's a promise he couldn't keep.
When then 19-year-old Alvaro DeVoe was remanded to prison on a murder charge in 2018, his 14-year-old sister was too emotional to speak to him.
I ran in the bathroom, I cried until it was over.
3 years later, and 17-year-old Carlisa Davis is heartbroken after her 22-year-old brother was gunned down on Milton Street on Friday night. 3 other men were also shot and hospitalized in serious condition. Police say the men were walking when they heard gunshots and realized they'd been hit. They were all taken to hospital via private vehicle, where DeVoe was pronounced dead.
I just snuck off from work. My phone was about to die. I wasn't around Wi-Fi. When I went around Wi-Fi, I had all type of missed calls, all type of calls.
His aunt, 36-year-old Miriam Roll, described him as a sweet and respectable person.
He is a sweet person. He's a darling heart.
But DeVoe's aunt admits that everybody has a good and a bad story. Back in 2018, DeVoe was charged with murder, along with 2 others, in the shooting death of 58-year-old Craig Trevor Smith on Maxwell Lane. He was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections and was released on bail last year. Other legal issues included a charge for death threats and a firearm.
But the good thing about it is my brother was praying. So I know that he repented and everything before he left for me.
But family members say DeVoe was a committed father who was trying to make up for lost time with his 3-year-old daughter.
He was a great daddy. Excellent father. Him and my niece Sario played before they went to bed.
DeVoe's aunt says despite the challenges the 22-year-old faced while he lived, his family still loves him.
At the end of the day, everybody have a story. Everybody have a good and a bad story. Nobody is perfect. And to me and to us as a family and loved ones, we will continue to share the great memories that we had with him.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Nearly 600 Bahamians who were stuck abroad due to lockdowns across the globe were assisted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, according to Minister Darren Henfield.
The division continues to facilitate Bahamians in distress in foreign countries and in collaboration with our overseas missions. During this fiscal year, the Council Division, together with our overseas missions, assisted 539 Bahamians who were distressed and or displaced, most of whom were done so because of the lockdowns, the countries that they found themselves in indicated or lockdowns by airplanes that refused to fly.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says despite the pandemic, the Passport Division processed thousands of applications and collected more than $1 million in revenue.
The passport officers enrolled 43,000 366 applicants. Of this number, adult enrollments total 27,285. Minor children enrollments total 7,982. The revenue collected by the passport office, its sub-offices in the Bahamas consulates for the period of the 1st of July 2020 to May 2021 was $1,183,045.00.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Up next, 2 men charged in connection with a recent robbery and murder. Plus, Jonquil Jones gives an MVP-type performance. The details when our news returns.
Rev and Alive are moving some things around to save you time. We are officially moving all equipment testing for Rev customers away from the mall at Marathon and to the Kenneth Plaza on Prince Charles and to the Southwest Plaza. You can still pay your Rev bill at any Alive location and enjoy customer support at our Prince Charles, Harbor Bay, Southwest, and Cable Beach locations. For more information on Rev service locations, please visit rev.bs/contact.
This is our news. Welcome back. 2 men were charged in the magistrate's court today for a recent armed robbery that turned deadly on Washington Street during curfew hours. Giorgio Bain has the details.
20-year-old John Butterfield, seen in the yellow shirt, and 19-year-old Cabrillo Cash, both of Washington Street, were brought before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on Monday afternoon to face charges connected with the May 30th murder of Alfred Lightbourne. According to police, officers were called to number 23 Washington Street shortly after 11 p.m. after residents reported hearing gunshots in the area. During initial investigations, officers found a man lying on the ground at the rear of a home with gunshot wounds. Today, Butterfield, who was represented by attorney Wilfred Delaveau, was charged with the murder of Lightbourne and robbing him at gunpoint of $250. Cash was charged with aiding and abetting the murder and armed robbery. Both men were not required to enter a plea to the charges and were remanded to prison. They returned to court on the 26th of August. Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Over on Grand Bahama, 33-year-old Cambrel Roll in the green shirt was arraigned before Magistrate Charlton Smith on 1 count of possession of an unlicensed firearm, 1 count of possession of ammunition with intent to supply, and 1 count of possession of dangerous drugs with intent to supply. The South Bahamia resident pleaded not guilty to all charges and was granted $8,000 bail with 1 shorter. The matter was adjourned until September 6th. Meanwhile, 28-year-old Cordell Dean in the white shirt was sentenced to 2 years in prison after pleading guilty to 1 count of causing damage, 6 counts of stealing from a vehicle, 1 count of vagrancy, and 1 count of stealing from a shop. These incidents reportedly occurred between May 5th and 31st. In sports, the men's national soccer team stuns Trinidad and Tobago. Marcellus Hall has that and more in sports.
Hi, thanks a lot and welcome to our Sports on a Monday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. When you look at this photo behind me, it represents exactly what it should. Our Bahamas men's national soccer team proving to the world that sometimes when nobody thinks you can win or even come close is when you put up your best performance. What are we talking about? Let's find out. Not all victories coming in the form of a win. Such was the case for our men's national soccer team taking on Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday evening at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. This is a World Cup qualifier. Bahamas ranked 201st in the world, not supposed to be able to hang with the heavily favored Soca Warriors of Trinidad and Tobago. but apparently did not get that memo. Team Bahamas not only hanging tough all match long, but they held the vaunted TNT squad scoreless throughout the contest. Match ends in a scoreless tie. Team Bahamas goalkeeper, 18-year-old Ian Lowe, fantastic, turning back all attempts at scoring from the Trinidadian squad. All in all, a fabulous effort for the Bahamas as Trinidad eliminated from World Cup contention. On to some hoops news where Jonquel Jones is an early candidate for MVP of the WNBA. Jones with another stellar outing for her Connecticut Sun on Saturday, pouring in 31 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. This came in an 85-64 win over the New York Liberty. Sun improved to 8-2, sitting in first in the Eastern Conference. Connecticut not back in action until Sunday when they faced the Seattle Storm. Also over the weekend, the IBA Bahamas Jam Fest basketball tournament taking place at the Hope Center. Tournament featuring teams in all divisions was a huge success, well attended and well organized. Action wrapping up late yesterday evening with their championship games.
And there it is, your check on sports for you here on this Monday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. Well, how ready are you for this hurricane season? A closer look when our news returns.
Rev and Alive are moving some things around to save you time. We are officially moving all equipment testing for Rev customers away from the mall at Marathon and to the Kenneth Plaza on Prince Charles and to the Southwest Plaza. You can still pay your Rev bill at any Alive location and enjoy customer support at our Prince Charles, Harbor Bay, Southwest, and Cable Beach locations. For more information on Rev service locations, please visit rev.bs/contact.
Welcome back to our news. Mostly sunny and pleasant conditions ahead. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. Region-wise, that high-pressure system out of the Atlantic extending across our area, generating those breezy conditions. Boating and beaching becoming a challenge over the next couple of days as this weather pattern will remain in place. We could see a couple isolated showers moving across the islands in that stiff easterly breeze, but all things will remain quiet. The National Hurricane Center now watching an area down near the Western Caribbean for the potential for some formation over the next couple of days. Of course, this being the 7th day in the Atlantic hurricane season. We will continue to monitor this area over the next several days. Boating, if you're doing any of that tonight through tomorrow, the Northwest Bahamas, we have an easterly flow at 15 knots, seas running 3 to 5 feet over the ocean, a little choppy out there on the waters, while in the central and southeastern islands, a small craft caution is posted for you guys. Easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas running 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 7:03 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Saturday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, we're 7 days into the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, but how prepared are you? Although the dates for hurricane season remain the same year after year, culturally, Bahamians tend to wait until the last minute to prepare for a storm. Well, the National Emergency Management Agency is working to change that.
Our focus is to see how we can change those mindset to know that we are in a hurricane zone. Any given year between June and November, we can experience a major storm. Hurricane preparedness has become a part of our way of life.
The second edition of RTV Special, The Breakdown, examines hurricane preparedness and its link to climate change as the country prepares for the possible impact of a storm in what is expected to be an above-average hurricane season. The hurricane expert at the Weather Channel reminds us that we each have an individual responsibility also.
After you get yourself and your family, your business ready, identify at least one friend or family member, especially being mindful of our elderly friends and family members, and help them get ready. I'm calling on everybody to adopt at least one elderly friend or family member this year and make them your responsibility this year, because elderly folks disproportionately among the injuries and casualties in many past hurricanes. They need your help getting ready. They might need your help during the storm, and they may need your help in the aftermath.
The breakdown, Are We Ready for the Next Big One, airs next Monday, June 14th at 8 p.m. only on RTV. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.